Savannah Film Festival. I gotta say, I consistently enjoy maybe more than any festival the audiences at this one. So I'm going to start with a round of applause for all of you. You guys all make this such a great experience. While we're at it with the applause, how about another one for this really fantastic film, Maria? And last but certainly not least, we'll keep it going for the visionary director who brought it all together, Pablo Larraín. We're trying not to be in a food coma right now. We just came from dinner, so we're gonna, you guys help wake us up a little bit.
I had a full southern meal. I had a fried artichoke, fried tomato, and fried chicken. Mac and cheese, so if I get a heart attack, you know.
We have paramedics on standby, it's totally fine. Well, here's where I want to start with this, because this film is, it's not the third in what's become kind of an unofficial trilogy of yours, these complicated, insert whatever adjective you want to use, of these women, starting with Jackie, about Jackie Kennedy in 2016, Spencer about Princess Diana in 2021, and now Maria. Fair to say, this, you didn't set out to make this trilogy, right? It's just something kind of happened. Can you explain that and why this is now part of your incredible filmography?
Well, thank you. I don't have a very rational answer, unfortunately. I was invited by another filmmaker, Darren Aronofsky, to do Jackie. And then for some crazy reason, I thought it was a good idea to make a movie about Diana. So I did Spencer. And then after those two movies, I thought to try to make a movie about someone that has really affected me deeply during all my life. Someone that changed the history of music, of performing arts, and someone that devoted herself and her work to try to make opera more popular.
Yeah.
Opera has become, opera has like nearly 500 years, and it started as just people connecting theater with folk music. And it started as something quite simple, it's just like, you know, it was like a pianist with a little play, a horn, and then it became something that is very elaborate and sophisticated, and it's elitist somehow because of the expenses that are involved. But Maria tried to put it back to where it started, and I think that if there's something that this movie can do, and I would dream with it, is that maybe some people would be more interested in opera after seeing this film, not only in Maria, but just to understand that there's such an incredible force of creativity there, and something that is very hard to explain. As Maria says, there's no reason in opera, so that's what
Yeah, but I mean, these are really intricate, elaborate productions, these operas. And by the way, which I just realized backstage as you were talking about the number of musicians here, it's something like half of your credits are to the orchestras, the musicians.
Yeah, because we were, it's very long, and that's because there's like 1,600 people, and half of it is the musicians that were involved. So there's like 800 people from orchestras and choirs, and we work with the different ones, so it all adds up. Every time you see an orchestra at Rio, they're musicians, including the one of the rain. That was weird because you're not supposed to wet an instrument, right? You put it under the water, but yeah, it's incredibly collective, and the amount of people involved. And what it is as well is that there's something in Kala's figure that creates a lot of interest in musicians. So it was, people was very happy to be there and to do the work.
Well, round of applause for all those musicians.
Yeah.
Were you recording live, or it's a mixture in the final product of like soundstage recordings versus live?
It's a mixture. We record pretty much anything, so we have like a 2024 sound design, as I say. But I guess the most challenging part was Angelina. When we, I'm so happy to see you, so I'm very nervous. When we are, I don't know, say that anything that you like, any musician, any pop musician, you just play the record in your car or at home or in your bathroom as you're having a shower, and you can sing along. You can do a decent job because you know the song, and you can't do that with opera. It will never work. Don't try. I mean, unless you are a trained singer for many years. So what she had to do was she trained for 7 months. The two first months was only posture and breathing. So then she did an accent because she sings 6 times in camera in the movie, and all of them are in Italian. So she trained for Italian, and then she did another 4 months plus the production we shot for 2.5 months, so 6.5 in total. Learning how to sing just the pieces that we were filming. And it's very hard because you have to track the pitch of the structure of the melody. So in order to do it, just for you to understand, she had an earpiece with Callas and the orchestra in her ear, and nothing else sounded in the set. So we were only listening at Angelina singing out loud opera. That's how you do it. And I knew that, but I didn't tell her until late in the process because it wouldn't be very scary, I think. She thought that it was going to be like, you know, like an acting thing, so you mimic the melody. I'm like, you can't do that. You can't cheat. So why? Because once we capture every sound from her, the breathing, everything that comes out, the clothing, everything, plus obviously the voice, then later we just mix it old school. There's no AI or any of those things here. It's just like a proper old school mix where you can adjust here or there, the sync, but that's pretty much. So often, you don't want to make a movie about Maria Callas without Callas' voice, but often it's, I don't know, 98% of Maria and 1%, 2-3% of Angie. Every breath is her. And then sometimes it's 10% of Angelina, and later in the scene in the rehearsal theater, when we cut to Ana Bolena, and she says, "Oh God," and you realize that her voice is gone, that's 60% Angelina. So it's really depending on the scene, but she did sing out loud every time you see her singing. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah.
It's incredible.
In regards to Angelina, as I understand it, you took this script to her not with the intent of hoping that she was going to star, but you were just curious about her opinion on the story. Is that right?
No. I called her directly and said. We met for other things that never came up and never ended up being a movie. And then what we did is when Spencer was ready.
Yeah.
So we hired a cinema in Paramount in LA and invited her to see it. And then when she called me and said, "Oh, I like the movie," I'm like, "Great, I want to invite you to make another movie." I said, "What?" "Play Maria Callas." And then there was like a silence on the other side of the line. I said, "I called you in a couple of days." Okay. Yeah. So she called me and said,
But at that point, had she seen the script, or she just knew?
No, there was no script there.
Okay.
No. Yeah. And then with her, I called Steve Knight, invited Steve Knight, who wrote Spencer, and said, "This is the story pretty much. When you would write it, Angelina would play it." And yeah, I think it's, the chicken or the egg, as you say, what comes first. But I think that, look, I've read 9 biographies of Callas in the process of this movie.
Amazing that there are even that many.
There are more, like around 20. Yeah, but like say that the most official ones are 9. There are like 4 documentaries. I saw all of them. I read every interview, a number of books, listened to her music since my childhood. I did this movie and I have no idea who she was. And that is because Maria Callas was a very mysterious person. And you think, we might think that we know a lot about Angelina. Well, you don't, we don't. And that is the mystery that I think she can carry. Not just the presence, the iconic figure. She can always play the diva really well, and she has the discipline. She's an incredible actress, as you just saw, and probably seen in other works, but there's something in her that it's very important for cinema, that is mystery. And it's someone that, because I operate the camera in the movies that I do, so I was very close to her, very close often. And she would choose when to let you in and when to let you out. She knows when she's being exposed and more vulnerable. And she knows when she says, you know what, I'm not, even if you're close to me, I'm not gonna let you feel what I'm feeling, I'm not gonna let you see me. And that interaction, it's what I think creates an active audience. You know, I'm not very into the movies that tell me everything because they're already digested, they're telling me what you think, what you feel. I want to be challenged, and I trust the audience. It's the most important thing here, to understand that the audience is sensitive, intelligent people, and I want to work for them.
How much of that, her skill, those restraints that she made, do you attribute? Of course, she's been acting for many years, but also she's a director as well. So could you see her director brain working to help you accomplish what you wanted?
At the beginning, I think that Chloe Sappho told me, because she made a movie with her, with Angelina, and said she would know everything. You know, she would know what you're doing, and usually when actors don't know a lot about directing, especially in film, it's good for us because you can, you know, say things that they don't understand, and then you can get away with things that you did wrong, whatever. So she was very aware at the beginning, and then I think she just connected with it. And something that I think she brought to the character that I didn't entirely see, and I embraced it completely, which was a sense of stoicism. She was always taking care of Maria in sense of just like, I'm not gonna let her be vulnerable in front of anyone. And if she's vulnerable, it's gonna be me. It's a private thing that happens inside my room, inside my bathroom. I'm gonna be broken in front of anyone. I'm gonna keep myself together. So I will survive, including myself. And if I'm gonna take my life in this process, if my life is gonna be burned out as I'm singing, because all of the circumstances, the medical circumstances that we know, then that will happen, and it will happen in the best possible way. And it connects with the idea of the movie. This is obviously a tragedy, but it's the story of someone that died celebrating her life. And that is what we want to do.
Through all of the biographies, the documentaries, all of that you consumed, once you connected with Stephen, did the two of you decide which specific areas of her life to focus on, or did you leave that all to him?
No, my idea was to make a movie about the last days that turned out to be a week. It wasn't that specific, but and from there, travel if we needed to the past. And I think music is a great door to, because what it is like, you know, we use this device, right? Steve created this idea that Mandrox was actually a physical person. And in reality, I think what he did, and I really love that, is that he opened the door for me as a director to find different sensibilities around her perception. Like if you think about when you're like in reality, when you're on the street or anywhere, you see a picture on your phone that remembers, I don't know, your mother, and then you see a reflection of yourself in the mirror, and then you see someone that's looking like your last boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever, and then we are so, our perception it's so in motion all the time with ideas, with thoughts, with memories. And I think that is what I try to do. I always try to, through the music, to remember certain things that she experienced, whether it's in the street, whether in a theater. And I love that about movies and cinema, that you can really explore someone's perception of reality without being, like too fancy with the cuts and the things. There's something very internal that can be expressed with the camera.
Well, and you've done that so well with the others in this unofficial trilogy, but I mean, you also did the El Conde, the satirical take on Pinochet as a vampire, 250-year-old vampire. I love that film so much. And then as well as Neruda, about the poet and Nobel Peace Prize winner, Pablo Neruda. So with this history that you have with these biopics, was that ever a struggle for you as an artist? Like, how loyal am I supposed to be to their real life versus I'm a storyteller? I can kind of do what I want.
Well, two things. I don't think. I think the idea of biopics is like a cultural fantasy. I don't think you can actually make it without anyone and say this is what the person was, right, per se. But and then, like going back just the case of Maria, I told you I read all those books and I saw everything. And in the biographers that they call like official biographies on these people, on her, sort of by these different people, I could say that it's a 60% agreement in a number of facts, from where she was born, where she died, dates, when she sang this and that, she had a fight with this person, things that you can actually research. And then there's another third that people is just, I don't know, inventing, I could say, maybe. And they're like, quotes, she said this. I'm like, how do you know that? It's like, but whatever, but however they do it. But, so that is where we enter. There's always a big fragment of the story of someone that is undocumented, because in whatever happened with Jackie Kennedy, once Kennedy was shot and killed, they went back to the White House after the hospital, and you don't know what happened. You have no idea what happened with Princess Diana when she broke up with Charles. You have no idea what it was like the last week of Maria Callas in that apartment in Paris with her butler and maid and the two dogs. You have no idea. And that is, even though there's information, who was there, the doctor, you don't know. And that is when we can create a fable that it's made with love. And some of the some critics have said that I have been too much of how do you say, what's the right word, but like someone that's too nice to the character, right? That
Too sympathetic?
Too sympathetic, and I'm like, yeah, I love her, I want to celebrate her life. And it's not that, it's not, we show tough things. It's not just like a beautiful happy party, but I have no problem to be called that, because I love the character and I'm here to celebrate her life, her work, and invite others to get to know it.
Right, you're not making a documentary expose digging up the deepest, darkest secrets. Yeah. I want to focus on the performances just for a second. I'm so curious why you wanted to kick things off with this which it's such an incredible scene, but so close, the one, single take, that performance.
The beginning? Well, there are many reasons, but one of them is something that I have discovered during the other two movies. So this is the question. So you know that, so you're gonna see a movie, and you know that Natalie is playing Jackie, right? And then you have Kristen playing, very famous people playing very famous people. So the question is, how long does the audience take to assume that that actor is now that character? That is the question. So Angelina, I don't know, is she the most famous woman in the world? Maybe, I don't know.
One of, for sure.
One of, for sure. Was going to play someone that is very known, especially in Europe and Latin America. Maybe for sure here less. But in any case, how do we do that? So that was one thing. And then it's like, oh, is she gonna sing? Oh, is she going to sing? How's she gonna do that? Okay. And then it was like, can we start with a prayer? I was raised Catholic too, like Maria. And that song is Ave Maria, which is basically a prayer that's come from Otello in a Verdi version as an opera from Verdi. So it was just to face the problem and challenge ourselves with a close-up of her singing, looking at the lens. So at the beginning I called on Jimmy and said, okay, you're doing great. So look, I would like to start with this, with you singing at the lens in a very tight shot. Oh, I love it, she said. And then she heard it and was like, okay, you really want to do this? Yeah. And so we did it, and it was also a way to show fragments of her life. So we could introduce the audience to an audience, people that maybe don't know her, to see a little bit, of what she was. But I guess the most important element for me is the religious aspect. She's praying to be understood, to have company, and she's praying and she's being grateful of that. There's like a hidden map in the movie of music. Every time she sings, or every time there's an area in this movie, what she's going through in the film is related to the scene in the opera where that area happens. There is a direct interaction. So my idea was to subtitle the operas. So people would say, oh, okay, it's similar. But then we did it, and it was just such a bad idea because it would make you rationalize what we're doing. And it would just kill the sensibility of something that just, it's mostly sounds and words that you might not understand, but it makes it too rational. I could give you examples, but it would be too long and boring, but it's all related. And I worked very hard on that, and then it was just one, we were editing, and Sophia, who edited the film, just did, and there was no more subtitles in the songs. And it was like, wow, I tried that for years. And then it was just better because you can still transmit the same emotion in a way that is more subtle and more subtle and not be too preachy. So it was better. I still wonder what would have happened if I knew that before, but however.
So from the beginning of the film, talking about that performance, I want to jump to the end, and your decision to actually not show her death, and also to kind of keep her body concealed by the furniture. Did you film that any other way, or that was it?
No, that was it. Yeah, I wonder, because this is I think a very cultural thing, because I think in different places it would be different. I'm so curious to know if you, for example, did you think that at the end when she's singing at the apartment and she collapses and dies, at the very last piece, did she really recover her voice like a miracle, or she was just her thinking that she was singing like that?
Be thinking about that as you go to bed tonight. Right.
Because I don't know the answer, and I love that. Yeah, because there's a side of me that wants to think that she really was able to think. But after seeing the movie, you know that her voice is gone. So it's like a movie thing that she miraculously can sing again and do that. Or is just like that, you remember that sometimes there was an orchestra that would come in and out from the apartment? It's the same thing. Is that happening in reality? Or is she thinking that can sing like that? And people that is on the street looking at are listening to something that we're not listening. I don't know. And I'm very happy I don't.
I want to acknowledge the fact that you received the festival's Auteur Award. Congratulations again on that. I'm curious, who are the auteurs of the world who inspired you?
I I've had cycles. I don't, you know,
Come and go.
yeah, I don't do that anymore, but I used to, you know, when they would like, I don't know, a magazine say, we're doing the 10 best movies of all time. That's a bad idea. I don't believe in that. I really don't. I think I have cycles. I could tell you what are the movies that I'm obsessed now, and then a week later I could have a completely different opinion. I don't think it's a good idea. I've been obsessed with different filmmakers. I went through from Stanley Kubrick to Gino Visconti, Bergman has been a huge inspiration, Pasolini. And then we were just talking, as I grew up having this very nice cultural education, going to the opera house, I was obsessed with Back to the Future. I was a very little boy when the movie came out, centuries ago. And I went to
Don't date us.
Yeah. And I went to the cinema and I saw it. I was like, wow. So a movie can really be the first and the biggest time machine that man has created. You know, it's just like there's nothing like it. And you know, no question, I've made 11 movies in 7 periods. So,
Right, yeah. By the way, when he said that earlier at dinner, movies are our greatest time machine. I felt myself freeze in the moment. Like, that's one of the most profound things I've ever heard in my life. But you're so exactly right. There are a lot of directors, several directors, who you can go into their film, watch it, and know exactly who made it without even looking at the title cards. And I think you were one of those directors. I'm really curious, how quickly did you find your very specific style? Was it something that came easily? Were there trials and tribulations and things like you would never do again, or did it come to you easily?
I don't know how to deal with that because I've tried to make movies that are so different from each other. So